We're moving on to my good friend Leo Barrios, the furniture designer and maker. Leo Barrios is a furniture designer and maker. He trained with artist and master craftsman Peter Zubiate and founded his own studio in 2017. He blends traditional woodworking techniques with modern machinery to showcase the texture and richness of local and domestic hardwoods and of materials such as steel and brass with an eye to sustainability. His work is driven by a love for the beauty of simplicity and of contemporary forms and his belief that good design brings joy. Folks, Leo Barrios.
Good evening. I think to preface, thank you to the two previous speakers. They were phenomenal. And for me to talk about my furniture, I have to go back to where it started. It's personal, so excuse me if there are tears. The mallets you see on the screen are a memory. My father made them using an old shopsmith lathe in his garage. It's probably my earliest memory, actually, as I remember playing with them when I was really young. And it wasn't until I started learning to make furniture that I realized that, oh, these are tools. Like, they do things in my shop today. Here we have 1-year-old Leo on the left and 2-year-old Leo on the right, hammer in one, screwdrivers in the other. But what does a 2-year-old do with those tools? Well, these may have been the exact instruments I used to meticulously chisel an entire intact brick out of my parents' fireplace while wearing a diaper. My father, Francisco Baron Barrios, after being told he would never amount to anything by one of his teachers, became a well-respected doctor. But in fact, he hated medicine. He loved working in the garage, building super fast motors, doing small woodworking projects. And he was creative too. He was always the man behind the camera. I love this photo in particular. It's a conversation you can see, but you can't hear. It puts you in a place and time. The old Marlboro lights, the coffee cup, the wood paneling in there, salt and pepper shakers. It just takes you back to a place. Peter Zubiate and his dog Bibi. He was my mentor, my friend. I was in his shop every day, every week for the better part of 7 years. He taught me how to be a woodworker, how to make furniture the right way, with integrity, courage, and confidence. And Bibi taught me how to charge a via bus and not get hit. Katie Pell, Pete's wife, a dear friend of mine, and of a lot of people here tonight, she told me, it's none of your business what other people think of you. Take care of you. I opened my shop in 2017. Pete passed later that year. Katie, only 2 years. This is the memorial table that was on display at Pete's memorial. He made the top out of pecan long before he passed, pecan wood. I made the base out of white oak, built it and joined it in the style that Pete taught me. It's also the last project we both worked on together. Here's a close-up of the joinery and the sculpting that was used on the table. This joint's called the T-bridle joint. It's a good, strong joint that leaves itself completely exposed, showing every detail and the craftsmanship required to make it leaving minimal to no room for error, because you see everything, nothing's hidden. The beauty of wood. Whenever I'm beginning a project and selecting wood, I look for the imperfections. I look for the scars of the tree. Just like the scars on our skin, they tell a story, stories of time and place, and every one of us here has a story. Michel Lamy. Architecture, which I studied for a few years, always and has been and will be an inspiration, but so do fashion and style. This woman here, big, bold jewelry, unconventional clothing, wrinkles unabashedly visible. She challenges the conventions and the notions of beauty, and I love it. This piece is 9.5 feet tall, 5.5 feet wide, made out of oxidized oak, oxidized walnut, and quarter sawn oak. It's effortless and elegant, just like the clients. Their style inspired me to design it this way. Think of a nice pair of jeans, a simple top, paired with some really elegant jewelry for the door handles. Here's a close-up of the handles, the textures from the wood grain to the texture of the brass. I mean, I just love it. The shape comes from the initials of the client's name. First a K on the left and a C on the right. That's where the shapes come from, and it creates their own logo. Here's a shot of tape of the legs of modern furniture are often missed opportunity to add more to the piece. I wanted the brass to continue the flow and shape of the leg, but with more pizzazz, like the way a pair of shoes will complement and polish an outfit. The feet on this particular piece, made in bleached maple, give it life and character. Again, the feet I feel like they're often missed opportunity to create something fun. The shape of this foot here was derived from the name Penny Lane. The P and the L, the two geometries merging together, create the shape of the foot. I think of jewelry in different ways too, never just decorative. Here's an adjustable shelving system in walnut and brass. The details of my work serve both an aesthetic function and a purpose. The brass pins allow the shelf to be adjusted to different heights, and the rails serve as bookends. Everything has a purpose. There's nothing better, I think, than an example of form following function than the human nature. Look to the anatomy of the human body. The human femur bone is long and slender through the shaft while growing wider through the joint, connecting to other parts of the body, giving us strength to support our weight, mine in particular. The good luck table is the most recent commission to leave my shop. The client expressed an affinity for Hans Wegner's wishbone chair, so I researched the wishbone itself and ended up in a deep rabbit hole of the human body, which inspired me. The entire table is made entirely of white oak. The base was built using the same joinery and methods that were used on Pete's memorial table. I sculpted it to appear lean and svelte, but also it needed to be a bit stronger at the same time, hence the likeness to the femur bone. As you can see, the joints connecting as they get thicker. The next two photos were taken on the northwest coast of France in a region known as Brittany. There was a low tide that day, so we were able to walk the sea floor. I was mesmerized by all the colors and the textures that are now exposed. The rock formations and the beautiful green of the algae covering the rocks completely inspired me. The sea life, like these mussels on the next slide, their shapes, their forms, everything has its purpose. The colors, I think it's safe to say that there will definitely be some nature and sea-inspired furniture coming out of the shop in the future. And like the mussels you see here, the form will follow the function. Thank you.
Yoink. Hey there.
Hello.
Awesome
Hello,
job.
sir. Thank you.
So, first question I'm really thinking of is like, what's your favorite like wood to work with like when making furniture?
Hardwoods, domestic, something locally sourced, pecan, mesquite, oak, walnut, nothing exotic. We don't need to ship anything here to build anything beautiful. We could have it right here in our backyard.
I was gonna go with why, but that's a very good why. It's a fantastic why. Okay, so you borrow from natural forms. When borrowing from the natural forms, what do you look at in nature and go, okay, all right, that joint in the femur, that looks fantastic, but you know what it really messed up though? And then you have to like improve. You look at it and think, well, I need to improve on nature somehow. Like this isn't sturdy enough and it needs to like more shoring up. Yeah.
No, I don't think nature has to be improved on. It's the inspiration. When you look at my pieces, you're not supposed to really see the inspiration. The inspiration for me gets my brain moving to create something new and original, which is hard to do in a world with so many people. It's hard to find something original, but that's what nature does for me.
That makes sense. And what didn't make the cut?
I mean, I could have talked about BB the dog a lot more. I really love that guy. Really love that little dog.
Yeah, what's the Via story? Tell the Via story, like condensed in about 30 seconds.
At Pete's shop, every day, BB was in the shop hanging out, and if there was a Via bus driving by, he ran out there and charged it, forcing the Via bus to swerve. BB never once got hit by a car. We have people out there in the audience that can attest to that. So, yeah, probably BB.
Good condensing. Once again, awesome job.
Thanks, Anthony.